Hello everyone. Welcome to this webinar on Cliq Bots. I'm Manasa and I'll be taking you through the steps for creating a bot and configuring each of the bot's handlers. Before we begin, this webinar is being recorded and we will share the webinar recording with you shortly. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask them. You can ask questions through the chat bubble that you see on your screen. Our team will get back to you with a response as soon as possible. So let us take a quick look at the agenda for today. We will begin with a quick overview of what Cliq Bots are and take a look at a few bot examples, followed by the various bot handlers that are available and their purpose. Each bot handler will have a list of variables and Cliq core objects that are available by default. So we'll see that in detail too. Up next would be to create a simple Cliq bot, your very first Cliq bot, and how we can create, configure and customize it. Followed by how to let your bot handle a conversation. And under bot as a notifier, we will see how you can go about connecting your bot to any external service and how your bot will promptly notify you of any updates in the service that it is connected to. So with that, let us get started. So what is a bot? A bot in Cliq is an intelligent assistant with a conversational interface that helps you with a multitude of purposes. Now, bots can be configured to perform simple or complex tasks much more efficiently than humans. They can act as your personal assistant, or they can take up responsibility to manage tasks for a team or for the entire organization as well. Cliq Bots can perform tasks for you on your behalf, or bring notifications to you, or pull information from any service on demand. The bots that you create can either be accessible only by you, or can be built for your team or cater for the entire organization. But how can your teammates or co-workers find the bot that you've created? So one of the most common questions that many users get is, can I initiate a chat with a bot that I haven't created? So the answer is yes, absolutely. But you have to subscribe to the bot that you want to chat with. So when the access level of the bot is set to either team or organization, then your colleagues will be able to go ahead and subscribe to the bot and initiate a chat as well. Well, that is an overview of what Cliq Bots are, and now let's see how you can go ahead and build a bot. To create your bot, go to your integrations page by clicking on the integrations icon that you see on the top navigation bar of Cliq and select bots on your left hand menu. Now this is your bots view. Click on the create bot button that you see to create your bot. So I'm going to create a very simple greetings bot. So my bot's name is greetings and I'm going to give a description saying I will greet you every single day. The description field should contain the bot's purpose. Whenever a user wants to subscribe to the bot, they can take a look at the bot's description and decide if they want to subscribe to it or not. You can further customize the bot by defining a status, an image and the access level as well. So once done, just save your bot. This will take you to the edit handlers page. Before we go on to configure each of the bot's respective handlers, let's just understand the various handlers that are available and their function as well. So all Cliq Bots have 6 different handlers. For those of you who aren't familiar with what a handler is, a handler in Cliq is just a deluge script that gets invoked whenever an action associated with that particular handler is performed. So the bot's 6 handlers are welcome handler, the message handler, the context handler, a mention handler, incoming webhook, and the bot's menu handler. Now each of these handlers are associated with an action and are triggered when the user or system performs that action. So let us take a look at each of them now. We'll start off with the bot's welcome handler first. The bot's welcome handler will be triggered only on one action, which is user subscription. When a user subscribes to the bot, the welcome handler of the bot is triggered to post a message to the user. You can consider this like an introductory message from the bot to the user. The attributes that will be passed to the welcome handler on user subscription are new user and user. So the new user variable is a boolean which confirms if the user who is subscribing to the bot is subscribing for the first time or not. You can configure the bot's first message based on the value of this new user. The user object, on the other hand, will give details about the user who has just subscribed. The user map will contain details such as the user's first name, last name, email address, their country, time zone, and so on. So this here is a simple example of the greetings bot when subscribed. The bot simply greets the user every single day. So on user subscription, which is the first time, the bot responds with a message to the user saying, "Hi there Scott, thanks for subscribing to me. I'll greet you whenever you send me a message." So that's the welcome handler for you. The next handler that we'll be looking at is the bot's message handler. So this handler will be triggered when the user sends a message to the bot. But do note that the bot should be configured to identify the message that it's being sent. So the attributes that will be passed to the message handler are the message map. The message object will contain details about the message that the user sends to the bot. The bot can then identify this message and perform the action that has been configured. The returned response for each user input from the bot can either be a direct message or the bot can provide options for the user by using bot suggestions. So this here is an example of how the greetings bot just responds back with the message. The bot has been configured to understand a few keywords like hello and hi. Now when the user sends a hello to the bot identifies the message that's been sent and returns a response such as hello, how are you? So this is the response that has been configured. Now if the user sends a message to the bot that the bot wouldn't recognize, then the bot will return a response saying that it can identify only certain keywords, so why don't you go ahead and try sending me a message using those. Now one way of user input is where the user sends a message to the bot directly, and there is yet another way where you can prompt the user input by providing bot suggestions. Bot suggestions are just simple options that the bot presents to the user to choose from. When the bot recognizes a message that the user sends, while returning a response, it can return a list of suggestions, that is options for the user to choose from. The bot suggestion is a list containing many maps. The maximum number of bot suggestions that can be returned is 10. And each suggestion can have a text and an icon. So a sample example here of the same greetings bot returning suggestions to the user along with the greetings. So when the user types a hello or a hi, the bot just says hi there, good morning, how can I help you, and provides two options news update or weather update. So when the user chooses an option, the suggestion is taken as the user input and the bot responds back with the weather update for the day. So that is the message handler of the bot, where you can train your bot to look out for certain keywords as inputs from the user and then perform an action based on the input. So next up is the bot's context handler. Now the message handler of the bot is a way of just invoking the bot's chat. But what if you wanted your bot to have a conversation pertaining only to a specific topic? Or what if you wanted your bot to ask a series of questions and perform a task for you on your behalf? To handle such instances, we have the bot's context handler. The bot context handler provides a perfect interface to let your bot ask questions to the user, wait for the user to come back with a response, and with all the answers, performs the call to action. Now you can invoke the bot context handler by just defining a context map. And a bot can have multiple context maps defined. The bot can easily recognize a particular context with the help of the context ID. So the context map should contain the following necessary parameters: ID, which is a unique identifier for this particular context; timeout, the total number of seconds for which the context will remain active; and params. Params is a list of questions that needs to be asked to the user. The params list can contain a maximum of 10 questions. So the attributes that are present in the params list now are name. Name here is a unique identifier for each question, and the question itself, a value that you can provide as a response to the question. You can use this param if the answer to this question is already known. And suggestions. Suggestions are just a list of key value pairs that you can provide as an option for the bot's question. User inputs for each question will be available in the answers map available in the context handler. All the answers given by the user for each question can be pulled by using the unique identifier name of the question. This would be easily understandable with an example in place. So let us take an example of a simple movie booking bot. Now this bot helps users book a movie. So let's analyze the questions the bot should ask the user. The first question would be presenting the user with movie choices, and once the user selects a movie, the bot will show the list of multiplexes that have the movie running. And upon selection again, the number of tickets to be booked, and finally, the bot comes back with a confirmation from the user before booking the tickets. This here is a context, and let's see how the corresponding context map would look. So we've defined the context map's ID as book movie, and the time for which the context map would be active is configured as 300 seconds. The params list here contains all the questions that we discussed, such as the movie options, the multiplexes, and a choice to select the number of tickets to be booked. Once the bot asks the following questions to the user, the given answers would be then available in the answers map of the context handler. The bot then collects all the inputs provided by the user, and before booking the movie, asks the user for a confirmation by displaying all the inputs, and upon user confirmation, the bot goes ahead with the booking. So this is exactly how you can engage your bot to have a meaningful and a strong conversation with the user. The next handler up our list is the bots mention handler. Cliq allows bots to be a part of any conversation through the bot's mention handler. Just like how you can mention a user, you can also mention a bot. When a bot is mentioned in any chat, the bot's mention handler is triggered to invoke an action. The attributes that will be passed when a bot's mention handler is triggered are mentions, which is a list, location, and message. Now the mentions object will contain details about the bot. So when the greetings bot is mentioned, the bot returns a response in the same chat. This here is a sample example of the bot's mention handler, where when the bot is mentioned in the chat, the bot just responds in the same chat by just posting the message saying, "Hey Scott, thanks for mentioning me. I can help you with greetings." Now these handlers help your bot evolve as a conversational interface, but your bot can act as a notifier as well with the help of its incoming webhook handler. But before we take a look at that, let us first understand the concept of webhooks. So what are webhooks? A webhook is just a way in which applications can send real-time notifications to each other. They are simple HTTP callbacks, a simple HTTP post request that is made to an endpoint URL. You can think of a webhook as a connector which relays real-time data for any event or trigger that happens in application A and which is being relayed to application B. The concept of webhooks is quite similar to polling. So in polling, your application sends a request for new events at a predetermined frequency and waits for the endpoint to respond. So in case the endpoint does not respond, then it concurs that there are no new events to be shared. This image here, sourced from an article on the Cloud Elements blog, is a really simple and perfect illustration of how polling and webhooks work. When applications use polling, your app keeps sending a request every time to the endpoint, checking if there is an update or an event. Whereas in case of webhooks, you just configure the endpoint URL that needs to be called. And when an event or an update occurs, this endpoint URL receives the HTTP post request, thereby making webhooks 100% more efficient and real-time than polling. It is also a fact that webhooks reduce the load on servers that otherwise polling would bring, and also has turned out to be cost effective and brings real-time data. So webhooks are much more efficient than polling. So this here is a general workflow for webhooks. When you are looking to connect two applications, a callback URL from one app is configured in the application from which you want to receive updates. So in this case, application B's callback URL is configured in application A. Whenever an event or an update occurs in application A, a HTTP post request is made from app A to app B through the callback URL, and this is how webhooks relay real-time information. So with that, let us take a look at the bot's incoming webhook handler. As mentioned earlier already, this handler is responsible for your bot to act as a notifier. You can connect your bot to one or more applications to let your bot receive real-time notifications from these services. The bot's incoming webhook handler workflow is shown here. In Cliq, each bot has its own incoming webhook endpoint. This bot endpoint can be configured in an external service, for example, application A here, so that the bot will receive updates as and when an event is triggered in the service A via a HTTP post request. The request sent when any event update is triggered is then handled in the bot's incoming webhook handler and the body, headers, and param attributes. A sample example would be the Twitter bot, which instantly notifies when someone has mentioned the Zilker Twitter handle in their tweet. We'll also be seeing one more example of working with the incoming webhook handler at the end of this webinar. Moving on to the last and final bot handler, the bot's menu handler. Now this handler is a quick menu list of all the actions that the user might do frequently in a bot. Apart from the default actions that are present in any chat, the bot menu handler can have up to 5 custom actions. These actions, when configured, will be displayed below the message composer in Cliq. You can name each action according to its purpose and configure it directly. The greetings bot here has a menu action called help, and when the user clicks this menu action, the bot gives a brief introduction of itself and gives details on what tasks it can help the user with. Well, finally, now that we have covered each handler and its purpose, it's time to take a deeper look into the working of each bot handler with some practical use cases. So let us start off with the welcome handler. An example for the welcome handler would be the company bot here. So this bot greets the user on subscription and also provides details about what it can do and how it can help the user. The purpose of this bot here is to onboard new joinees into the organization. So when a new joinee subscribes, the bot recognizes that with the help of the new user variable and sends a message asking the user to fill in certain forms and configure certain personal information. Let's take a look at the sample code of the company bot's welcome handler. So the bot checks if it is a new user followed by the message that is being returned on user subscription. It further goes on to store details of the user and the services they opt for in the database. Now the bot will know each user's preference and will direct notifications based on their preference. Since this work should be done immediately and it is a one-time configuration, the welcome handler is preferred for this purpose. So let's try working with the welcome handler now. I've made the bot public and I'm going to go ahead and subscribe from a different account to this bot, and let's see what the bot sends me on subscription. So on user subscription, the bot sends me a message greeting me and a list of tasks that it can help me with and provides me all the details that I need to go ahead and configure. Now that is the welcome handler for you. Moving on to the message and the context handler. So let us take an example of the Zoho CRM bot here to understand how these two handlers work. For those of you who do not know what Zoho CRM is, Zoho CRM is a customer relationship management software which helps organizations and businesses tackle all their customer details. So now we know that the message and the context handler are involved in the bot's conversational interface. The CRM bot here helps you get details about a particular deal or change a deal with a customer by updating the deal's stage. The workflow is pretty simple. When the user sends a message to the bot, the message handler is triggered asking the user a question, prompting the user to enter the deal name that they're looking for. So when the user responds back, the context handler is invoked where the bot searches for the deal name from CRM using the Zoho CRM search records deluge task and returns a response. The bot then asks the user if they would like to update this deal, and if the user says yes, it displays all the deal stages, and upon user selection, the deal is updated. Here, the deal is updated using the CRM update records deluge task, and once the deal is updated, the bot again returns a response with the updated deal. In case the user responds back saying no, the bot would just return a response to the user, letting them know that in case of any update, they can always ask the bot to do so. Now this is the workflow. Let's see how it works in real time. I have the CRM bot here with me, and I'm going to initiate a chat with the bot by just typing hi. So the bot asks me to enter a deal name. I'm going ahead and entering XYZ. The bot pulls up information about this particular deal from Zoho CRM and also asks me if I want to update the deal's stage. When I choose yes, the bot pulls up the stages and asks me to update the deal. So on choosing the stage, the update is done and the bot confirms back to me with the updated deal details. This here is an entire context flow that the bot performs an action on behalf of the user. So that was an example for the bot's message and the context handler. And now for the bot's mention handler. Let us take this example of the desk bot. So the desk bot here helps the customer support team with any ticket details and customer details that has been raised in Zoho Desk. It can get ticket information, update ticket details, and so on. The bot, when mentioned in any chat along with the ticket ID, pulls up details of that particular ticket and shares it directly in the chat. So let's see how it works. I have the bot's mention handler code with me here. From the message, the bot just identifies the ticket ID and uses the search records task of Zoho Desk to pull up details about this particular ticket. So let us try the mention handler now. I'm just going to mention the desk bot in a particular channel, asking the bot to bring details about ticket 113. And the bot just responds back with the ticket details in the same chat. So this is how you can involve your bot in any conversation and ask your bot to perform tasks for you as well. Now for your bot's incoming webbook handler, we will be considering the example of the Zendesk bot here. Zendesk is a customer service and support software which helps in tracking, prioritizing, and solving customer support tickets. The Zilker support team uses Zendesk to manage their customer queries and they want to be notified in Cliq instantly whenever a ticket of high priority is raised by a customer. This also helps the development team to be notified about the importance of the ticket and to provide a quick resolution too. The Zendesk bot's incoming webbook endpoint is configured in the Zendesk portal, and whenever a ticket is raised by the customer, this incoming webbook endpoint receives a HTTP post call with necessary information about the event. So let us take a quick look at the handler code now. We can see that from the response for the call that is received, the body parameter contains all the information and the details about the entire ticket, using which we can frame the message that needs to be posted in the Zilker support channel. So let us try simply creating a ticket with a high priority in Zendesk now. So I'm going ahead and creating one right now. And once done, the bot instantly receives a notification about the same and posts the message in the channel too. So this is how you can start configuring the webbook handler for real-time notifications. Moving on to the bot's menu handler. Let us consider a simple cafeteria bot which pulls up information from your cafeteria menu. One common action which everybody would do is to check today's menu, and hence this has been listed as a quick action in the bot's menu list. A quick look at the menu action code here. The bot just identifies the day and the date and pulls in the menu from Zoho Creator using the get records task, and this menu is displayed to the user in a message card. So I'm just saving the code and trying it out here. Clicking this action will execute and bring the menu and post it in the bot's chat for me. So these were some practical use cases where bots and the bot handlers are being put to use. Now let's take a quick recap of each handler and its purpose. The welcome handler. So this handler is used to post an introductory message when a user subscribes to the bot. This can help in making a subscriber know about the bot's functionality and use cases and how the bot can be useful and utilized. The message handler is a conversational handler where the bot can be customized based on the messages that the user sends to the bot. The context handler is used to engage users in a context-based conversation with the bot. For example, booking a movie where the context starts right from the first message to the final booking confirmation. The mention handler helps in involving your bot in a conversation to get work done from the bot right inside that chat window as well. The bot's incoming webbook handler is your go-to to connect two different applications. Based on the actions happening in application 1, you can configure a message that can be posted or as a notification in Cliq. And finally, the bot's menu handler is more of a shortcut for the different actions such as to-dos, feedback, and about me that you can add to the bot and provide quicker access for the user. So that brings us to the end of this webinar on bots. We hope this gave you an idea about how to go about creating your bot on Cliq. Please note that the examples shared in this webinar are available in our resources page. So you can go ahead and check those out. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, or you can just put your questions in the chat bubble that you see on your screen. We will get back to you with a response as soon as possible. You can always contact us by dropping an email at cliqtrix@zohocliq.com. If you like this webinar and enjoyed it, you can find us on Facebook and show us some love. Thank you so much for joining me today. Next up is a webinar on message actions. So stay tuned for that.